This is Tom Akeland, the interviewer. I'm talking to Sheldon LaFrere in Lacombe.
Senior.
Hmm?
Senior.
Senior, Shelton LaFrere Senior. All right.
We have a junior.
You
We
do?
have a junior.
Yeah? Who is that, Sheldon?
Alec, my son, makes
Oh, Alec is it? Oh, see, I never knew that. I just know him as Alec.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it is his birthday. He made 45, I believe. He's the
He's
oldest.
45. I didn't know Alex was that old.
Oldest son.
Yeah.
Firstborn.
Well, I remember when I took those pictures of y'all out here back in '75, all the family, around there, except, of course, all the, not your extended family,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, a lot of things have happened since then.
Oh, yeah.
Well, how many children do you have, Shelton? I mean, all together and
Six.
six,
Three
yeah.
boys and 3 girls.
Yeah. And what were their names again?
Alec was a Shelton Jr. was the first one. First little girl, the second one. Madeline. Third one. It was Mark. The fifth was Loran, and then Preston.
Mm-hmm.
The last four.
Okay. And of course you lost Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was 37.
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about your family and background, if you would. I'd like to find out specifically about, how you can. We were talking the other day at the cemetery about, how you trace your family back to a place in France.
Yeah, well, I didn't actually trace him. It was my nephew's mother-in-law that went to France, and she found out that they were shipyard somewhere, in France.
It was on the coast.
I really don't remember where he said it was, but I could find out.
Yeah.
The shipbuilding was in the family,
Mm-hmm.
They were, I don't know if everybody was France, LaFrere that do shipbuilding, but the ones that came this way, they knew shipwork.
They were what do you call a shipbuilder like that? I mean, there's a certain term for it.
Not that I know of, it was a shipbuilder.
Because I mean, they built wooden vessels, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it would be like marine carpentry or something.
Could be, yeah.
I mean, all your boys work with you, right?
Yeah.
And what is it you do?
I'm building houses, construction. They could frame a house and then start it from the ground and go on up with it,
Mm-hmm.
frame it up complete.
You just do framing?
We do interior trim too.
Yeah. But mainly you specialize in
Mostly
framing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. About how many houses you reckon you built around St. Tammany Parish? And, well, the area, I guess, because you built some in New Orleans too.
Yeah. Maybe 75, 100, maybe more.
Yeah, hard to keep track.
Yeah, it is. Preston had took a portfolio of some of the houses. He didn't have them all, but he had a pretty good bit. Some of the bigger ones.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's nice. When did you get started and how did you learn the trade?
I went with my brother, my oldest brother. We were in New Orleans at the time. And I was right out of service around 53. Went from 51 to 53. Well, I was working before then, but you actually got into the carpentry work around that time, around 53, and I was kind of green to start with, but I caught on pretty good. I had a pretty good head on the work, and eventually my brother ran the job, and he made me a partner. You know, partners was almost on the last that he died. Well, he retired before we stopped. But
You stopped? You're not doing it anymore?
oh yeah, before he stopped.
Oh, before he
Yeah,
stopped.
he retired, and Peter and I were partners for a long time. Peter Goodwin,
Yeah.
and then he went on to his other job, the assessor's office, and well, I'm still in it.
Yeah.
But we worked out of New Orleans for I guess about 20 years or so, and at least 10 years or so did French Quarter work, working in the French Quarter. Everything you tear on had to go back just like it was.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah, that's a real
yeah.
skill.
You have to kind of know your stuff to
Yeah.
work in it. We had about 10 years, I guess.
I'll be doing. Yeah. Was how did you came out of the service? Were you in World War II?
I was in the Korean
Korea.
conflict,
I see. Yeah.
From 51 to 53.
So you came out and went into business with your brother.
Yeah, I got married and afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. How old are you?
69, born in 1930, February 27th. February coming up, I'll be 70.
Well, tell me a little bit about your family and you know, maybe some of the things you know, like your father's name, your mother's maiden name, you know, and grandfather and all, how you can, because you know how you can know about them and where they came from and all of that.
My father was a kind of quiet person. He didn't indulge too much into the family's history. He didn't talk of things. Name was his daughter, LaFrere, and my mother was Eugenie Ardon.
Eugenie
Yeah.
Ardon. And they were from where now? They were from.
Well, he met here in Lacombe. And, I think some of them came from Blackman Parish around that area.
You got people down there?
I really don't know Tom. We didn't do it, too much on my mother's side. They kind of did a little research on my father's side. But it's like him and his dad didn't. Well, they got along pretty fair, I guess. But when his mother died, his daddy remarried to a Morgan, and she had a son, which was Earl LaFrere. And she kind of leaned toward him and didn't do nothing for my daddy. And then when his daddy died, he told us that they would work and the daddy would collect the money, like save it for him. And just work. You got to use a old man ready to get married and stuff. After his daddy died, he asked his stepmother for his mother. He wanted his money. And she took him back to what they used to have some outside toilet. And she told him it's in there. He didn't get a penny out of that. But his half brother, during the early 30s, I guess, things were real hard. He wore the finest of clothes, kept a new car, just lived it up him. So he eventually got killed. This one ring and everything. And my daddy didn't give him nothing. Didn't give him a dime. So he left and went to New Orleans.
He left from here.
Yeah. I think it might have been in Slidell then. Well, sometime he was, They tell me they had a place up the bayou somewhere. We were back in the woods and that. But his daddy had a place, but don't know whatever happened to him. He never did tell us nothing about it. Thomas Laurent and a couple of others said, yeah, they had a place up there. Somewhere we're back in the woods. But I don't know whatever happened to it. Anyway, he went on to New Orleans and, you know, we all went, you know, the whole family. And stayed out there until I was, I guess, maybe 12 years old.
You were born in Lacombe.
He was born in Florida.
Oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm. I had a cousins out there, and I don't know if my daddy stayed with them, but him and my daddy bought some land together in Florida.
What was your daddy's name?
Isidore.
Isidore. Oh, that, yeah, I've seen that tomb over there.
Yeah, well, it's a Pope and his thing on it. But we caught particular hell in New Orleans. He was them houses out there like during the time had a lot of rats and stuff in them, you know, the big old rats, and start catching some rats and getting the hide. And every now and then he'd come out to the country, bring some hide rats out of the city. And he caught some kind of disease on them rats and went to the hospital like to die. He like to lost it. In the meantime,
Wait, back up. Yeah. What would he do with the hides? You bring them over here?
Yeah, there was big money in rat hide. You see, in the lake down here, they were trapping rats every day, and this made beaucoup of money on that.
You mean muskrat?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant.
No,
I
not
thought you
house
meant
rats.
regular.
Well, it looked like these house
rats
rats were
from-
so big that
Oh.
he was getting
All
the
right.
hides off of them.
Oh, I hear you. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, in the meantime, what?
He caught some kind of disease from the rats. So many, I don't know, it wasn't so many poison, it was something else. But he just liked to die. Stayed in the hospital. In the meantime, my oldest brother, Hero, was must have been in his early 20s, and he had to take care of the family. Get out and work. All of this, he was just 50 years. He was in the hospital. And after he got well, a little while, stayed out in New Orleans for a little while after that. And it must have been around 41 or 42. I think I was in the 6th grade, and I must have been about 12 years old. And been out here ever since.
Did you? Wasn't there a high school here, or did you go?
No, they had all they had was a little one teacher. They had a little classroom on the side of the old church, where the old church was.
Mm-hmm.
And one teacher was that teacher, and everybody was there. So I was, at 12 years old, I was kind of big. I was ready to go to work. I was not from school, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was ready to go to work, so I used to mess around with Jimmy Revere.
Mm-hmm.
Doing, you know, all this kind of hard stuff, cleaning up and hauling wood and stuff like that. Did that for a long time. I could throw a tree right where I wanted it after a while.
So you started working at 12?
Yeah, around 12, a little after that.
But that was a Catholic school then
Yeah.
that you went to.
Yeah, I went to part of the term to Corpus Christi, then we had to move, I think, and went to St. Peter Claver's after that.
In New Orleans?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. He taught by the sisters. So that's where my kind of religious background comes in.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of things going on here that you couldn't do over there.
Like what?
The sisters, if you came in, say 15 minutes late for church, they kept two or three pews in the back of the church, and the sister would put you in, and you had to stay and make the next mass. You couldn't come in late and figure that's your mass. No way. We'd have to stay and catch that next man. And I could see them kids and stuff, we looking all around and everything. I remember when sisters used to tell us all the time, they didn't care if an elephant coming at the back door, don't you turn your head. You stay forward, look forward, right to the, you know, at the front of the church. Don't you turn your head. And if it was close enough in your wood, you'd feel something.
Mm-hmm.
It'd pop your side of your head in a minute, or grab your ear and twist your ear.
Yeah, those sisters were hell, I understand.
Yeah. Well, they would teach you, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But they demanded that you pay attention and
Oh, yeah.
give them that
guarantee you,
discipline.
in the church,
Yeah.
you got to have that discipline in the church. You couldn't come late. Don't come too late in church. So they kept two or three pews in the back, and our sister was sitting back there. You coming late, you go in that pew and stay there till the next mass. Get that next mass. That's the that way. The people coming in when the gospel goes all that down here.
Did any of your other your children have a Catholic education?
Ellie did that. My oldest son. He went to Holy Redeemer.
Oh, yeah.
He graduated from Holy Redeemer.
Tell me a little bit about Holy Redeemer, because it was going when I was here, but I don't remember that much about it.
Well, they ran a high school, I think from the 9th grade through 12. And that was taught by the priests too. Back
Yeah.
in there. And as far as I know, you know, they were charged so much, I was able to send him. He was the only one that I was able to send over there. And he graduated in the 12th grade over there. And he went to college at Southern or somewhere. Exactly. Anyway, what he learned in 12th grade at Holy Redeemer, that was what they were teaching him in his Whitfield College. He just walked through it. You see, we had all this before. You know, that's how much they were advanced.
Yeah.
At Holy Redeemer.
Yeah, but that was taught by priests, not by nuns,
By
right?
priests, yeah.
Yeah, well, when I went to St. Stanislaus on the Gulf Coast, I was taught by brothers. I went there from like 4th grade on through high school,
Yeah.
you know, and
they
were tough bastards
I never did go to no school no more since I left New Orleans. Just about finished the 6th grade, and that was it.
Yeah. But now did you volunteer, enlist in
during
Korean
that
War?
time when you made 21, you have to go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the draft was going to get you anyway.
Yeah, he was drafted at 21.
Yeah. What branch of service did you go?
Field artillery.
Army.
Yeah, Army.
Yeah.
Army. I was in the field artillery headquarters battery. I did pretty good. I stayed in. Went to Fort Sam Houston, processed, and left from there. Went to Fort Sill, and I stayed there for 2 years. Was discharged from Fort Sill.
Oh, so you didn't go across?
No, I was
Korea.
a lucky one.
God bless you. Yeah, you were.
I've seen guys that went over there and came back, and it was like still riding dog. Yeah. I see they shot them 105 howitzers point blank. They just look down the barrel and shoot it, just like you shoot a rifle. That's how close the enemy was on us. They was rough over there. They bombarded the hill for 3 or 4 days and nights. And get up, we go to take it up, get halfway up there, and we come out the ground somewhere and run them back down. So it was rough over there. You couldn't go to sleep. You'd sleep and you wouldn't watch yourself. Bunch of them wake up, throat cut, sneaking that night, cut their throat. It was rough over there. Hopefully I didn't go, I guess.
Yeah.
But my 2 sons, they went in the Army, Eric and Mark, and they both went overseas. Mark took survival training out in the woods, nothing to eat, week or so.
He was in the Army too?
Yeah.
Now, this gentleman, that's your daddy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Isidore. Yeah. Where was he from?
Supposedly he was supposed to be from somewhere from France. Well, his daddy was.
So his daddy came over
Yeah,
here.
and he was probably born here in the States. Like I said, he never did tell us too much about
Yeah.
his family.
Well,
He
that
never said too much about it.
that reunion y'all had this year, that was sure something to see all those people and that book.
Yeah, well, that's my daddy's brother kids. So then moved to Lake Charles. I mean, the oldest son.
It that there was an older man there. Was that his
First,
brother?
no, that was his first, well, his nephew.
Nephew? Oh,
Yeah.
there's a handsome family, you know. I mean, the amount of people that had an interest, you know, to come
Yeah.
to something like that really amazed me.
It wasn't, there was still, a lot of them didn't show up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's how it is, of course, in the family. But
Yeah.
that book, I need a copy of that book to go along with these tapes and all that I'm sending up to Washington. So, you know, does Preston,
Loran's got in charge, I believe.
who?
Loran.
Lorraine is. Oh, okay.
Loran. Hey, y'all go outside. Go ahead, go ahead back. Hey, take them out. All of y'all, go outside. No, get out.
Hello,
Get out.
honey.
Get the kids out of school.
Yeah, the kids out. Go ahead,
Come
Chelsea.
on.
Go ahead and play outside.
Come on, Chelsea.
Oh,
And
yeah, go
those
play
are-
outside till we finish now.
And those are great grandkids, right? Or great. Yeah.
Actually, it's on my brother-in-law's side.
Oh,
Those
oh,
yeah.
that's good. Yeah. But how many grandkids do you all have?
Mark had 2. Larry's got 2, 4. Oh, that's 8. Mark's supposed to have another somewhere. About 9.
Any great grandchildren?
Yeah.
None yet.
Alex and his wife, they had nothing. You know. My oldest son was supposed to be bringing a breed along. He had a side. I don't know, deal with his wife like that, you know. Might not be able to have no children. Yeah, Loran had one. Well, that's me and 9.
Yeah.
9 or 10.
Oh, it's nice to have a big family, and I know that, you know, when they come up and all your grandkids have kids and all, it's going to be nice for them to be able to have some idea of that, where they came from, who their people were, you know, and all of that. And I'm real proud to see that. Who are the girls named? Karen?
Yeah,
And Barbara?
Karen and Annette.
Nanette, yeah. Yeah, and put together that
They
book.
did, yeah.
That was
And Deborah. Deborah was one of the biggest ones. in
Deborah,
church.
yeah, that's right. So that's really nice. And you know, I hope that Owen Murphy, that guy you met at the cemetery, the photographer, I hope we can, you know, put together a book on the Creoles of this area, because you know, and not only this area, but up in Natchitoches and over in Lafayette.
Not to cut you off, but Miriam was showing me a book, Peter's daughter.
Yeah,
She ordered from somewhere. She got the Creoles in New Orleans.
I gave it to her this morning at church. Yeah,
You gave it to her. I know
Uh-huh.
she showed me that book.
yeah. She had, when I showed it to her election day, and she said, "Oh, Tom, I want a copy of that book. You got to let me buy some." I said, "Look, don't worry, I'll get you one." So I brought it to her this morning at church, and so yeah, that's the one that Owen and his partner wrote. So what we're gonna do is try to, you know, after this Library of Congress thing is done, is to do more research, you know, and help you all get a better feel for the Creole culture in Louisiana, um, and like with my own family, I didn't know anything about it till I had a cousin that started doing stuff on it, and it got me interested,
Yeah.
not only in my own family, but in other people's too, because I don't know if you know about the Cajun people, but about up until about 30 years ago, Cajun people were looked down upon. I
Yeah.
mean, they were not considered, too acceptable.
Right, right, yeah.
And so they got themselves together, and now everybody wants to be Cajun. So I'm hoping that not just for the sake of the people, but for the sake of the Louisiana identity,
Yeah.
that we can do something to bring all that Creole culture together so that other people can understand it. Because
Yeah.
Shelton, how would you identify what a Creole is?
Ah, now that's kind of hard.
Yeah, I know. Well, see, that's my point. People don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I've had people say, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about," because this is what I think a Creole is. Well, all that's well and good, but what by doing research and putting stuff down and writing, maybe we can, get
Hmm.
people to understand what the Creole culture is.
Oh, I kind of had an idea. I always thought that the Creole wasn't black and he wasn't white. He was kind of in between that,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
the middle ground, like.
Well, the Spanish used to be over here too.
Oh yeah.
They have, well, it was started out as a French colony, and then the Spanish got it, and then it went, well, the North Shore of the lake became British, and then it went back to France, and then America, the United States,
Yeah.
got it. But uh, most of the people were French, and in at one time, Creole was considered to be a mixture of French and Spanish that were born in Louisiana. Uh, but then the French, of course, intermarried with Indians and with blacks and with mixtures. So when the Spanish took over, they had 37 designations of race and
Yeah. Yeah.
ethnicity. I
Hmm.
mean, and because the Spanish were very technical, they kept good records and all that. But it's so hard because people are so intermixed today.
Oh
After
yeah.
all these generations and generations and generations, you don't know what you are, and so as a matter of fact, in the 2000 census, they finally the government has finally has a place for people of mixed ancestry,
Right.
because when I was coming up, my people, um, my grandfather was an Indian, but they didn't say that. My uncles and my aunts, they said, mm-mm, you don't, you don't say it because you either black or white.
Yeah.
There was no in
That was
between.
that was it.
Yeah. So to me, uh, I don't care what a Creole is, but whatever it is, I think it's part of the Louisiana culture, and
Yeah.
we need to have some idea and some understanding of it. So, do you have any family in Lafayette?
Not that I know
How about Natchitoches up there around Cane River?
of. Could be, but
Yeah. There's there's some Matoyas that were started out up there in Natchitoches, and I knew some in New Orleans in the Seventh Ward. That's where most of the people in that book, Creoles of New Orleans, was from the Seventh Ward, and I belonged to the little club there. It was part of Zulu, the Zulu Carnival organization, but it was just for like that ward,
Yeah.
and it was interesting. I had some, good friends in there. I don't ever see them anymore because I don't go to the city unless they force me, at gunpoint to go to the city. Um, Stop this. Um, well, when you came back out of the service, did you come right back to Lacombe?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you have property here then? I mean, you live with your family?
Live with my family.
Uh-huh.
My
And
father had a house in this road. The house is still there. We lived there until 4 years. It wasn't that long. No, I'm doing this one.
how much land do you have here? How much is your
We own about, obviously about 9.5 acres. My land. I'm in, with my father-in-law's wife, and I bought 4.5 acres for Rossburg.
Codsworth?
Rossburg.
Rossburg.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that now.
Wilfred Rossburg. Father-in-law had, I said about 10 acres or so in here. He sold something. I own about 5 acres in here. And I was out of 4.5 acres.
Who was your father-in-law?
Warning Cousin.
Say again?
Warning Cousin.
Warney? W-O-R-N-E-Y?
W-N-N-I-E.
W-O-N-N-I-E. Warney Cousin.
I was Gloria's daddy.
Yeah. And Gloria, well, what was he to Peter then, Warney?
I think Peter's daddy and him were like they were cousins.
Well, that's a big family, all right.
Yeah.
It's like prayers. Yeah, so, how did y'all meet?
Who?
You and Gloria.
Well, she was living right over there, and I was right next
Oh.
door.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Wow, that's interesting,
Right.
Yeah, so it was a sort of like a marriage of convenience.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
Married a
Like
girl
that. Sure.
married a girl next door, huh?
Yeah, next door. And we got married in '53. The fifth made us 46 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Every year y'all have the lighting of the graves, La Toussaint.
Right.
Is that right? You say it? La Toussaint. Yeah. And that just means the Day of All Saints, right? How old is that cemetery? It's called the LaFrere Cemetery, right?
No, it's yes, Cousin, and the name of it is La Fontaine, Fountain on the Hill. This guy R.K. Cousin was the first one. He owned the cemetery. He donated the land for that, and he donated the land for William down there because kept the black people separate from his family, I guess you call it. So he gave them a place, all of his land.
Specifically as a cemetery.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that hill there, before, it looks like the highway cut into it.
It did.
Yeah. Was that done during your lifetime?
No, I don't remember. I was probably too small to remember anything about. But the old highway had ran behind the bank.
Mm-hmm.
And the bridge had crossed, had a wood bridge there. I remember that.
It was a car bridge, I mean, it was for cars.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. When was that put in? Do you
Nah, I don't know that. Way before my time.
way before? Yeah.
But
Good.
you could look at the land and where the graveyard's at and where the bank's at over on the opposite side. You can see the contour of the land. It's just almost the same, like if they just cut through it
Yeah.
to make that highway there.
Right.
But that graveyard was there before the highway.
Well, that's why I'm interested, because I was wondering whether or not it was an Indian burial ground before, the white man
It
came.
No, not there, I don't believe. But it did have 2 Indian graves outside the fence that they were probably allowed to bury in there.
Mm-hmm. You
No.
said they did have.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
not there anymore. Or what?
Well, Mr. Vincent took and he had them to bulldoze everything on the outside the fence. There was a brick indention showing these 2 graves in it. They bulldozed over.
I don't know. Did he do that on purpose?
Not really, I don't believe. He just
Yeah.
cleaning up at the time.
I see.
And I don't think he even knew there was a grave back there. Nobody did intend them or nothing. You know.
No bleach.
It's not in there, it's in the shade.
No more.
Catechism, something like that. Rosary.
So how did your family get associated with that? Because you of in a marriage with the
Yeah.
Cousins?
Mm-hmm. My grandfather married one of Octave's Cousin's daughters. I think he had about 6 kids, 2 or 3 boys and 2 or 3 daughters. And my grandfather married one of the daughters.
I see. So your relationship goes back, quite a
Yeah.
way between the LaFreres and the Cousins.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Has there been any other marriages between LaFreres and Cousins since then?
Did me?
Well, besides, I mean,
Yeah.
none of your kids though.
Well, Peter and Helena.
Huh? Okay.
Peter Cousin
Yeah.
and Helena's my older sister. Cousin LaFrere.
That's right. Yeah. But how about Genevieve? Who's Genevieve?
Ziegler.
Yeah, she married Dotson.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean,
My
wasn't
youngest
she?
My youngest sister.
Okay, that's your youngest sister.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
She was a baby girl and I was a baby boy
Uh-huh.
in our family.
Yeah. And how many of there was you know?
Let's see, that's about 5.
Yeah, there. And of course, back in those days, you could have a bigger family, because
6, yeah, I have another brother too.
everybody kind of farmed. You had your own little gardens, and
Yeah, well, that's one reason why the old man left out of New Orleans. Things were so tight over there.
Mm.
And out here you could raise a hog or you could plant something. You'd always get something to eat.
Yeah. How did he ever tell you about how bad things were?
I can kind of remember. I was old enough to remember.
Yeah.
I went to the soup line and got milk.
Mm-hmm.
And like when the banana companies would come in and unload banana, they throw a lot of bananas down on the side of the track. You didn't offer bananas for a long time out there.
Mm.
Go along there and pick 2 of them rotten ones and get something good enough to eat,
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's see. You were born right, kind of like before the Depression started, but you grew up during the
Grew up in
Depression.
it, yeah.
It's like I was born in '34, so that was right in the middle of it. I didn't, I can't remember any of that part of it. But I know when you hear people talk
I
about
know
it.
we used to go in line and get milk and maybe some grits or something like that, you know.
Yeah,
And get you a gallon of milk or something. That was a big help.
yeah.
Can of beans or something. I ain't exactly what it was, but I know we used to go get it all the time.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember we'd go out at the railroad tracks and pick up coal. Sometime, when they were loading the coal would fall.
Uh-huh.
And because we had a fireplace.
Use
And,
that to keep warm,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, we done done that too.
But that was in the city, of course. But when my mama couldn't afford to keep me, because she had to work, so that's when she sent me to boarding school. But during the summers, I went to my uncle's farm.
Yeah.
I mean, farm, it was 5 acres, with a tar paper shack on it. I mean, no running water, nothing like that.
Before we were here.
So yeah, it wasn't. The Great Depression didn't end in this part of the country. I know till probably 1943, something like that, when the war money, all that
Yeah.
money from oil and the war effort came in. But I mean, people were desperately poor. Well, did y'all find any uh, di- discrimination or prejudice against people of mixed heritage?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Really, a lot.
Oh yeah. You better believe it. When we was coming up young.
Yeah. Tell me about something.
That was a different ballroom. And they had one in the front and one in the back. Bosco had one. And one in the front ballroom, the white people, one in the back for the rest of the people.
Mm-hmm.
And right where the junior food store is junior now, and the guy had a place there.
Mm-hmm.
Had a ballroom in the front and one in the back.
Hmm.
That's where if you want to go anywhere, so you go
Yeah.
get you something to drink.
How about like restaurants? You couldn't go into.
Well, you never did have too much money to go in the
Ah,
restaurant.
yeah, right. Hmm.
Go get a few beers now and then, drink a little wine or something. But,
Yeah.
And right where Goop's got his funeral home, his old folks home, every year a guy come in and set up a big tent. And they have movies under that tent. An attraction now. Of course, anybody could go in there,
Yeah.
go see a movie.
Yeah. Well, how about the local white people? Were they, were they pretty much mean and?
Not really mean, but they like they used to say, everybody stay in his place, Don't try to
Mm-hmm.
overrun the line or whatever you want to call
I
it.
see. Yeah.
But
What?
nobody wasn't. I don't think there was anybody real mean. Yeah, brother, that money was true. I always got something.
Yeah. Well, what? I mean, I know from what I've been hearing, talking to people, that there was a lot of sort of taking of land and all from people that were
Oh yeah,
Keller
was good for that.
couldn't read and write, and they fuckable them out of their land,
Henry Keller and Willie Davis, yeah, they used to. They did for that.
Were they related?
No, I don't. Not that I know of.
Yeah.
Henry Keller and Willie Davis, Davis and Keller. There
Yeah.
might have been something. I don't know what it.
Yeah. Well, Davis Wood, that was, they had that lumber company
that was
and
Mr.
sawmill.
Willie's
That
That was
was
his brother,
Willie's brother
yeah.
was Henry Davis.
Right.
I see. And that's Marjorie Moran's daddy, right? Was
Yeah.
Henry Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but now, wasn't there John Henry Davis back?
He had a mill a long time ago up here. It might have been Willie and his daddy.
Yeah. Okay.
About, you know,
Yeah.
I don't remember too much about him, but they had a mill just as you cross the bridge right now,
Uh huh.
off to the just where you get on it, coming, you know, coming this way, off to the left. They had a mill there,
Opposite the cemetery where the bank is.
uh, like behind the bank,
Oh, I see.
close to the bayou.
I
In
see.
fact, if you ever get back there, you probably see a bunch of sawdust.
Yeah.
Still got some back in there, yeah.
Yeah.
That
And the
might have been
schooners would come up to that
come off
point.
the bayou, right?
Yeah. And they just.
Most of these graveyards are built on the bayou because that was the only transportation they had during the time when they were built.
Yeah.
It all comes to the bayou. Now they tell me in the back of our graveyard, they got some bricks. They used to have some brick steps that went walk like on the hill and going down towards the bayou. Most of the cemeteries you see, they built on the bayou because that was the only means of transportation. The rest of it was just
Mm-hmm.
like wilderness, I guess, you know,
Yeah.
until they start putting roads in.
Yeah. Now going back to the cemetery, where was the spring, the fountain? Because that's what it means, La Fontaine.
Yeah,
Means
I don't
fountain.
know if there was a fountain that just named it that, I guess.
Oh, okay. Because I think Peter was saying that there was a spring at one time. I guess it just you don't remember that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well,
They could have been one from giving that name.
yeah, could be. Well, now the Ose Ordon, uh,
And they did have talent too. They would start getting some kind of job like in carpentry, bricklayers and stuff, and they would excel in that. You find some of the finest carpenters you ever want to see, Creole people come out of New Orleans. Bricklayers, they were talented.
mhm.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, you say you built what? Couple of hundred houses, 75 or 100 houses,
yeah,
you know.
at least.
I mean, you know,
Got 'em
you
more.
yeah, that's gotta.
Yeah.
What do you think that's attributable to?
Well, it's something built in, I guess.
Uh-huh.
They wasn't afraid to work, for one thing. You know, it was you wouldn't find a man with a family if he could get a job, he'd go to work. He wouldn't lay dead and dodge a job or nothing. He'd go get him a job. So if he could find a job, he'd go to work and take care of his family. And he had that much pride, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So this did, you know, you find some of the best buildings you ever want to find come out of New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, that seems to be traditional because I know that back even in slavery days, there were a lot of Creoles that owned slaves.
Yeah.
You know, as did Indians. There were a lot of Indians that had slaves too. And it appears that most of your good craftsmen back in those days were Creole people. Even cabinet makers made
Yeah.
furniture, beautiful
Yeah.
furniture. I know some of the old houses there, you know, when they have tours, and they'll show you all these beautiful rosewood and
Yeah.
walnut, you know,
Mhm.
and they always refer to, you know, the Creole people. So I guess it's
My daddy, when we after we moved out here a while, and he was getting ready to build a house, went out in the woods and cut a tree down for a sill. Took a broad axe and hewed it to the size he wanted, you know.
Hmm.
And then he got all of us to help him pack it out of the woods and bring it by the house where he put in the house up.
What we doing?
Made the seals out of trees out the woods.
Pine trees?
Pine trees,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, like,
He cut
you
'em
couldn't
down.
use it right then, could you? I mean, didn't it have to, like, cure or something?
He cut it down and he knew it what they call had a broad axe. What they call a broad, big bladed axe.
Yeah.
And they'd use a piece of wire, long piece of wire they'd stretch on it so that they could cut it straight.
Oh.
And you get it down to the size you wanted. By the time he made enough for the house, they were dry enough to start putting them up.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. And you, how old were you when you were doing it?
I must have been about 12, 13, 14, something like that.
So you learned right from your daddy, building your own house.
Mm-hmm.
And that house is still back here,
Oh,
you
yeah.
see?
Yeah.
I'd like to go see it, one day.
It's kind of falling to pieces, but it's still part of it standing up.
Yeah. Oh, so nobody's living there?
No. Karen was the last one in there. After my mother died, she stayed in there a while.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't try to do nothing to it. Just let it go until it, that she couldn't stay there anymore, and then she left it. We didn't want to do anything with it. Just didn't want to stay in it. I didn't want to stay in it.
Yeah.
Reference saying that today. Y'all wouldn't let him and LaFrere. Y'all wouldn't let me stay there. Y'all let Karen stay there. I said, well, Karen stayed with my mother. She was bedridden for, I guess, 3 or 4 years before she died. I said, well, let her stay, as long as she wants.
So your mama lived in that house till she died?
Yeah, she died in the house.
Yeah.
She fell, broke her hip a couple of times, and then she got bedridden, and she got to the place where she had Alzheimer's.
Oh.
I'd go there and see her sometime, and she'd tell me, "Hey, John, how you doing?" And it was one of her brothers that had been dead a long time ago. I'm not John, I'm Shelton, I'm your son. Oh, I thought you was John. How you doing? She called everybody honey. How you doing, honey? How you doing, honey? I said, "Yeah." You doing all right? Yeah. Never did complain about nothing.
How old was she when she died, Shelton?
She was in her late 80s, I think.
How old was your dad when
He
he
was
passed?
in his 80s, too.
Yeah.
Late 80s. Yeah. He had give up him. He said, I remember him telling me, he said, all my friends died, and I'm the only one that's living. I don't know why I gotta live. Why I can't die too? But he used to like to drink and play pool.
Yeah, well, nothing wrong with that.